Hello again. Thank you for coming to these slice of pie videos. Today we're going to do recommended videos. Of course, I usually say PGOT. So the book, I'm going to recommend a book, a TV show. So to study English, of course. So a book, a TV show. Then we have a movie, music, then movie. And then last, I used to recommend theater, but now maybe I'm recommending animation or cartoons. So don't forget before I start to give us a like below so that we know that you're enjoying these videos. That really helps us understand and also spread our message. So, of course, book. So, first off, book. What book would I recommend? So, I've been teaching English for over 20 years, and I've taught thousands of students. So, book I would recommend. So far, I've recommended, of course, some famous books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, or Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. For example, today I'm going to recommend Freakonomics. So if you've never read it before, this is probably the most difficult of the books I've recommended so far in this series. So you can, of course, read this in your local language. I would recommend reading this in your local language first and then reading it in English. It's quite an interesting read. It's written by, of course, two guys named Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner. He used to be, I think, worked for a newspaper in New York, of course, and he's a famous professor at the University of Chicago. And there are some chapters in here, for example, like something about sumo wrestler, like that. Why sumo wrestlers and teachers? Here we go. How is the Ku Klux Klan like a group of real estate agents? Or what do school teachers and sumo wrestlers have in common? So things like that. Even though economics might not be your thing, of course, this is interesting because he takes the economic theories and puts them into the real world, how they relate to the real world. So, of course, that is the book that I recommend. You can see their website here. I'll link it on the show notes. But of course, they've written some other books I haven't read yet. But of course, Super Freakonomics, Think Like a Freak, How to Rob a Bank, and 130. And they also have podcasts. I do listen to their podcast every week, actually. They have a Freakonomics podcast. I used to listen to No Stupid Questions. People I mostly admire. This is by the economics professor, Freakonomics MD. But anyway, also, if you want to listen to these podcasts, they're kind of useful. You can speed them up or slow them down. As for the TV show that I'll recommend this week I'll recommend Big Bang Theory. So far, I think I've recommended friendships, talking shows like Friends, or a Modern Family, which is family shows, or Blackish was last time, was Black People's Family. This one is interesting. This is about coworkers. So they're professors at a fictional university in California. They're physics professors, these gentlemen, and their neighbor is a waitress. So it's interesting. It shows you how high level or how college educated or PhD people talk versus how average people talk. And during this show, I think it lasted 12 seasons until 2019, they had a lot of highly intelligent people and they had a lot of average people, and they have to talk to each other, and kind of it's a different language. And it shows you how the average people and the PhD people, how they talk differently. It's a great show. Yeah, I recommend it. I'll link the show notes below. But yeah, 2007 to 2019. It's slow to take off. When I first started watching it, it was kind of slow to move. But eventually I loved it so much, I even loved the theme song. So if you watch the theme song, it's a great theme song. As for music this time, I want to recommend Taylor Swift. Of course, you can't go wrong. Like, she has 47 million followers on her YouTube page. But of course, she's also one of the top 5, I think, followed people in the world for YouTube music. But the main reason is so far I've recommended people that write well. And I don't know how much she writes. I guess she writes a lot. But some of the people I recommended for, like Ed Sheeran, he actually wrote for her before he became famous. So her lyrics are really good. Also, I think it's easy to follow, maybe easier than for example, Eminem to follow. You can follow her lyrics and slow them down and sing with it. So remember, if you want to practice great English pronunciation, then listen to music. Listen to music and sing with music. One time I had a student whose grammar and vocabulary weren't great, but his pronunciation was perfect because from 12 years old, he loved American music. So he practiced singing all the time with American music. So let's see, this time movies. This is maybe a little bit off the wall, or maybe you might not be familiar with this movie, but The Founder. I love this movie. It's from Michael Keaton. I love business anyway. As you know, if you're watching this channel, I have an MBA, so Masters of Business Administration. So I love business topics. And this one in particular is very interesting. So it's about the true story of the guy who started McDonald's, which, by the way, is not named McDonald's. If you know the story, his name is Ray Kroc. So Ray Kroc was a salesman, and it shows the history of how he found McDonald's, where it was. It was, I think, a small shop in California, and he discovered it and went along. I thought this was a great movie. I even studied this in my English class. In my adult English class in my Eikaiwa school, in my English school in Japan, they studied this one, and we spent like a month watching little bits of this movie at a time and studying the English in it, because it shows business English, but it also shows everyday English. So he's a salesman. He has to talk to different people, negotiate with people, and it shows how fast food industry was created. The McDonald's guys created what we now still use as the fast food system, or the franchise system, which is I think the franchise system he created. The fast food system is the McDonald's men created. Anyway, it's a great show. You can find it on Netflix, I think. If you can't find it in your local area, or you can't rent it, you can find it on Netflix, I think, in a lot of countries. And next, of course, cartoons. Last time I recommended a Japanese one, Sazai-san. This time I thought I'd recommend, it's not exactly a cartoon, it's of course a puppet. They use puppets or stuff, but this is a great show. You can, of course, find it here on YouTube, but it's great because it has a lot of characters and kids love it. But for any age, this show, of course, focuses on studying English. Not say English, but it focuses on studying easy stuff. So even if you are an adult and you want to learn, for example, how do Americans learn how to tie their shoes? Or how do Americans learn how to use a fork and knife? They might go over that topics. You'll learn culture with the languages here. For example, this first one here, world alphabet, birthdays, colors, and more. So, of course, this is great for learning. Then this is, of course, all brought to you by our Slice of Pie page. So again, these were Freakonomics book that I recommend. Oh, sorry, I should show the book here. There we go, the Freakonomics book I recommend. And then the Big Bang Theory is the TV show. And here, Taylor Swift for music. Of course, movies, it's The Founder. And Sesame Street for your animations. And last is, of course, Us. So thank you very much again for coming to these videos. I hope your English is improving every day. By the way, here's Dora, Dora the Explorer. I'm reading those books too. So, of course, that's also a great animation. Maybe I might recommend in the future. Okay, thanks again. And don't forget to to subscribe to our channel. And up here, of course, we have some similar recommended videos or Q&A videos. And over here, of course, some popular videos on our channel. So have a good day and see you tomorrow.